Well, it's towards the end. I wasn't even going to record this, but it looked like it was going to take a while with the 800 and some packages that I put on this bad boy. But this is my rebuild that I did on my own very own Linux operating system. This is what it's based on, Arch. My OS will be called OnlyLinuxOS. Kernel will be probably the same. Packages probably close to the same. I do not have 16 flat. I don't know what that's something that they must have done, or I don't think I got 16 flat packs. So sometimes if you can't get a package on the official repositories, I will do a flat pack versus a snap. As you can see, there were no snaps. I will be snapless. So there you go. This is my choice desktop Cinnamon. It'll be a Cinnamon edition. And these are my icons that I use. Now, this stuff, some of this stuff, like here, those items, you know, the dark, all these, this stuff is, I am very new to creating my own distribution, so any packages that are not in the official repository, I don't know how yet good enough to add I could build packages that it's not on the repositories, but getting those onto the programs list in the build sh, or the script that builds the system to give you an ISO, that's something I have not dabbled in yet, so I cannot do that. So what I will do instead is, if I can get a text file, a batch file or something, to install in the program, I could put a icon that says install extra packages. Maybe make some pictures and stuff in there, to where it shows you what you're going to install. And if you don't want it or you don't need it, wow, you're good to go. Your system is fresh, you're good to go. It's got your basic programs that you would need. It's supposed to. Okay, I have not tested this out. I tested 3 of them out yesterday, and I did something wrong. And I think I did something wrong this time, unfortunately, because I got a list of programs that it said no target found. What that means, it supposedly did not find them in the repositories, which they are in the repositories. And the funny thing is, the weird thing, the build that failed, it hung up on the install. When you go to install Arch, you click your splash screen comes up, and you go to install, or you install any Linux distribution. You'll get a screen comes up, and you get an option like you hit the top line if you're like AMD, second line usually for like NVIDIA, and you got some fail safes and stuff underneath there, reboot and all that stuff. So on that screen, my ISO stuck. I mean, it built the entire thing, but I left grub out. I mean, there's something I left that let it go in and actually boot in to the program. So I mean, all my stuff was there, but if you don't have a way to boot into that, which like your bootloader, either my bootloader was fragged or my or grub was, or it's an old grub, I don't know. 2 of those things, that's probably what the problem was. I mean, because it built fine. Belena Etcher made the USB live CD just fine. No errors, no fails, except for when I went to install it, I could not do it because it hung. And what it would do, where are we at here? So this is all the stuff it's done. See, look, here it is. Okay. Well, this is not part of the install. This is the error I'm talking about. So when I type in this command right here, that should build it using Arch ISO. Is an amazing program. That's actually the program that Arch uses to install, that all the Arch systems use to install crap on your Arch on your computer. So anyway, so when I run that, I got all this came up. Everything was fine. The programs seemed like they were going to take everything, and then I come down here. This is error, target not found. Open SSL. Open SSLs in the repository. All these on the repositories. So what that means is they may not be on it. Maybe it's something that is automatically going to be installed. I don't think so, though. I mean, these are programs that you should hand pick. Okay, that's what I hate about Microsoft. I hate about Google phones and stuff like that. You get a bunch of programs like this, okay, and you're on your phone or your computer, and you don't ever. I mean, you won't even need it. I mean, who needs? If you're not going to watch movies or videos on your computer, chances are you don't need VLC, okay? If you are those people that are kind of afraid of PowerShell in Windows or Terminal in Linux, NeoFetch is going to be absolutely zero. It's going to do you no good. I mean, if you don't do any, you don't look in your files, if you don't create or compress or make archives or something with your documents to save space, compress them, Nemo file roller is not going to do you any good. If you don't, you can't add, subtract in your head, or you don't have a handy calculator. GNOME calculator ain't going to do to you good. If you don't edit pictures or anything like that, Krita will do you no good. Krita is a program I use. A lot of people use GIMP, which is both of these are alternative to Photoshop, and they're completely free. All this stuff is completely free. You don't ever have to pay for it. So anyway, and this is a game that the wife and I play sometimes. K-Mahjong's fun game. Quadrat Puzzle, Steam. Steam lets you play a slew of games. Audacity is for editing music. Flameshot for screenshots. If you don't do that stuff, then you don't need it anyway. But what I like about a system, when I get a system, my intention when I fire that thing up, I want everything that I use to be on that system already. Okay? Some people call that bloat, and it is to some people. Like, if you don't need these programs, that is bloat. That is what the community calls bloat. But I want, because I am a gamer, I like to code, I like to type out C++ scripts for games, I like to make games work on my computer. They're supposed to take internet. If I like a game and I don't have internet, if my finances are in the crapper, I want to still play that game, right? So I make the games work without internet, okay? Which is very frustrating when like all these people with internet phones go out. I mean, at your house, you cannot make your internet phone work to call your neighbor if you're not on the same network. So, like, when a school's phone system goes down, a decent-sized school, Why they would go off of a landline is beyond my imagination. But if they had a strong networker that worked for them, they could create a intranet system, and the phones would work through the school system. Now, I mean, when you're talking the distance that some of them are away from each other, it would take a lot of repeaters, extenders to get that kind of stuff done. But it's possible. It's probably too costly, for them just to be able to talk internally, But a lot of times the work gets stalled. So I don't know why I'm talking about this stuff. I'm building a Linux system. Let's check it out. All this stuff. Warning. What's the warning? Oh, firmware. That's always the case. Because when you build a system, you can't build it just for. Oh, it built. See, look at this. It built successfully, actually. OnlyLinuxOS-Cinnamon edition. You see, this is today's date. You can tell that I just made this. And so let's check this thing out. I'm going to minimize this. Let's check it out. Where did it go? Alright. Let me bring this over here. Go to my home computer. My home. Why is this elevated privileges? Alright. You're not going to be able to see a screen with... Alright, let's check this out. Where did it go? Live CD. It's locked. I locked it out because I didn't... Like, if... I don't... My wife can get on my computer anytime. I mean, not that she randomly just starts deleting folders, but she would not be able to... Well, she knows my password, too, so I guess it really doesn't do any good to lock anything out because I don't hide my passwords from her. She could hack me anytime she wants, but let's open this up in root here. I don't really want to open it up in root. Yeah, you got to. I kind of knew that. Usually when there's a box lock on there, that means it's locked, right? When you open the root folder up, you don't have to do your password to get through it. All right, it should be in my out, and it is. There we go. This is my ISO. So let's do this. Let's exit out of that. Bring another folder up. Minimize this. Alright. I got two monitors. Normally you could just take like this and go like this and it'll do half. Oh, hold on. Like, see, that's wanting to do half. I could do it on the bottom here. So let's do that. Let's do that. And I'll take this one right here. Alright. And I'm going to put that in my operating system file. Let's see, only Linux. That one failed, so I could delete that. We don't want to keep failures around. I'm going to drag this up here, drop it. Okay. You don't need root to open it up, but it will not let me put a file in there. It's also root. There we go. Let's see. So let's drop this. So there you go. There's my ISOs. These are the ones I got. Windows 10. Like, I will never run. I'll put it on my computer so I can do I can do a comparison of race with Windows because I love to beat Windows. It just makes my day. But these are all the systems I take a look at. Arch Linux, Arcos, Arch Based, Barry's Arch Based, CatchOS is Arch Based. Aleve is, I think they're Debian based, Endeavor's Arch Based, Fedora 37. I've got it on two of the other machines in the house. That's actually I almost didn't even dabble into making my own because Fedora 37 is so good, and they're about to come out with 38. So that's such a good system, and I use the Fedora Cinnamon spin. Amazing. So I will do. I was originally going to do a Debian backing, a Fedora backing, an Arch backing, and an OpenSUSE backing. So I dumped Debian and I dumped OpenSUSE. I don't like OpenSUSE's package manager. I mean, you could put your own on there, but when you do stuff like that, when the developer of a system, they have their repositories and stuff. So if you make your own package manager and it doesn't compatible with that, then you're kind of stuck with a system that you can't put too many packages. You would have to physically build all your packages instead of getting them from the repository. So you could do it, but it's too much hassle. I mean, if you're the kind of guy or the woman or guy that likes to tinker around, maybe that's something you might want to try. But anyway, let's check this out. OnlyLinux. Let's see. We're going to see live if this thing fails. So let me pull up a VirtualBox. I'm not going to use a USB. So let's do a new here. We're going to call this thing. So this kind of stuff pops up. Call it Art. We're going to call it Only Linux Test. Only Linux Test. And let's pull the image up. Only Linux Cinnamon. It's Linux. Let's see. I'm going to put. Oh, it is Linux. Arch 64 because it's Arch. It is 64. It's one gig of RAM. We're going to give it, just for the sake of argument, we want this thing to run good. It would run on a gig, but Linux runs on less than Microsoft and overpowers Microsoft. But anyway, that's another video. We'll give it a 8 gigs, and I'm going to give it 4 cores of the 12, or 4 CPUs of the 12. Okay, next. I'm going to give this, it's only needing 8 gigs of RAM, or 8 gigs of space. And I'm going to give it, let's give it 50. It absolutely does not need that. But my father's a father of abundance, so I think I'll be in abundance with space. Okay, now I'm going to go to the settings to make sure we're good to go. Alright. I always bi-directional this. Now that's not going to work if you don't already have VirtualBox guest editions installed for Linux or Windows, whatever. It's not going to work. So, and I'm probably not even going to use it. I don't need floppy. I think they kind of did away with floppy disks a few days ago. So, and it's asking for 16 megabytes of RAM. Can you imagine that? So Linux will run on pretty much nothing. So I really wouldn't be shocked if you had a Pentium 1 processor around. It would probably work on that. Okay, this option here, enable 3D acceleration, that would absolutely throw a code or throw a red flag or warning. If you do not have AMD Hyper-V or AMD-V or whatever enabled in your BIOS, you cannot do this. Actually, the system would fail. It would completely fail anyway. It would be a total catastrophe. And this may be anyway. Please let this work. Even if My programs, Father, are not installed. The ones that I had to take off the list. Just let the system work. I can build and improve on the build if the system just works. If this works, I can build on that. I can improve. But if it doesn't work, I can't improve yet because I don't know what's busted. Help me in Jesus' name, amen. All right. Let's start this up. What? Did you see that? Kernel driver. What the? I've never had to do that. Drag it over here. Do full screen. Alright. It's telling me the VirtualBox Linux. I can't make that any bigger. Please try setting it up again by executing sbin vbox config. There's nothing in there. How can I execute something that's not there? What am I missing, folks? Oops. vbox. Well, I see no vbox config. Vbox manage. doubt, look it up. I don't. I didn't think it was gonna. I mean, it's not. It's not gonna work. That's what I already did. Well, I did all this stuff. Kernel driver's not installed. Come on, man. No. It's not true. That's, well, it is, but man, maybe it's because I did a bonehead thing. So let's just build this thing again while I'm on here. Let's pull up my necessary file here. No. Tracy. Come on, man. Okay. root fs etc Linux preset. Okay, this right here. Can I make this screen bigger? I've never tried to make one of these. No. But I can do font. Make it a little bit bigger. All right, this is file is the if this has got to say, like, if you're not using the kernel that came with it. So if I was going to just use a standard kernel, I could knock the Zen off of here. But when you use a standard, you're not making you're making a spin. You're not making a distribution. You're just making a spin off of someone else's work. I didn't want to steal somebody's crap. Okay, I mean, you kind of borrow. I mean, you're kind of using other people's stuff when you build things, I guess. But I mean, I kind of wanted to do things on my own. So I altered the Zen kernel just to. So if I was going to back that out, it would just use your standard Linux. But I changed this during the build. It was halfway through and I'm like, I forgot the Zen. So that may be why it didn't build, because it built I put drivers and stuff in there for I did the program. I made it to install Linux Zen, and I made it to install the Linux Zen kernel and the Linux Zen headers, but I didn't change this until after it already started. I don't think it periodically double checked. So let's see, this would generally be backed out to there. So I'm going to Control SQ, get rid of that. And I'm going, I wonder if I have to put my password in. No. Yep. Alright, root. And before you do that, you got to delete your build folder. And the out Oh man, I did that again. I'm so used to being done. And you don't have to use root. I could build this entire package. I can just go to, see, home, exit completely out of here. I could build it in Arch ISO and configs and relaying, and it would go here. Oh, it did start in there, and the ISO would go there. But don't have permission. Oh my God. Okay. All right. Let's build this thing again. Yeah, leaf pad. I need to do something with my leaf pad. I don't, because, yeah, I don't have it in there. Yeah, it's always going to be there. That's all right. It doesn't mean leaf pad's busted. I just don't have that theme engine, so that's okay. All right, clear this out. Let's see. Is it already in my? Yep. Let's see. V home. Live CD relaying build. Yeah, the sudo. This is the command here to run Arch ISO, and this is just I'm not sure what the B. I used to know that. B. I can't remember what the B stands for, but the W. This is where the work directory. This is where all the work I do is going to be built, and the negative O is for the out, for the where the that's where the work I do ends up. The finished product ends up in live CD and the out. The out. So let's hit enter and see what we get. You know, I was thinking, if the Zen, man, I really don't want to make a spin. There's so many spins around that, you know, these people come out with something called a distribution. They're not distributions, they're spins. I'm sorry, if you're not using a custom, if you make one change in the kernel, it is now yours. But when it's up 636 now, there was 8 the first time. Okay. Okay, I've got to see if the Linux drivers that it says I was missing are going to be installed. Okay, right here. They are all right here. Right chair. So she ought to work this time. Sure hope it does. If it doesn't, I mean, it's not costing me anything but my time, right? So, anyway. Let's see. So if you're watching this video and you've seen that fail in VirtualBox and you got a pointer, if you're a VirtualBox master, which I am not, I'm not really a Linux master either. But when you want to know more about Linux, if you step out of your comfort zone and you try to improve on your knowledge, I find you learn a lot more than just being content with someone else's stuff. Like let's you know what I'm talking about. So I mean, just the more you learn, the more you go higher and beyond, the more you pick up and the more you learn. You know, it's the hands-on is the best way to learn. So for sure, like learning a bus route for me, it was riding with someone, and you know, you're just looking all around, you're just watching, you know, and stuff. So missing firmware, that's really not uncommon for the it's just a warning anyway, it's not an error. So, but I mean, I physically can't have, I don't know what firmware is going to be needed for someone else's stuff, you know, so it's different, you know, the firmware is different for everyone. So it's probably always going to stay missing unless you install a system just specifically for say a Logitech keyboard on a certain CPU, certain maker, and you limit people. That would pretty much be like what Microsoft does. That's what makes Linux great, is because it works. It works for everybody, you know, not just a select few. They don't say, well, like Tracy doesn't say, if you install OnlyLinuxOS-Cinnamon, you cannot dump Cinnamon and put Mate on there. You cannot put XFCE on there. You cannot put KDE on there. You cannot use Bungie on there. LXQT. You have to use Cinnamon. If you don't use Cinnamon, you can't run the programs that you had installed on Cinnamon, because I have a file in there, a code embedded, that if you alter, then you can no longer use that. So that's why Linux just doesn't do it. You can buy a computer and pretty much install it. I mean, I haven't found I haven't ran into a PC or computer that I cannot install Linux on. I'm telling you straight up, guys. I'm a long time Windows user. All my coding, all my game coding, all my computer knowledge was all learnt, with the exception of the Linux stuff, in Windows. My coding, Visual Studio, C++ scripting, CMake, Git, CDiff, RKdiff, not CDiff, KDiff. I mean, all these gaming and coding and programs was all Microsoft. So that's probably the reason it took me so long. And the end kicker was, I watched a YouTuber, it's a Linux guy, and how he put it, eBuzz Central is where you can go and learn a lot about Linux. You can learn more from him than you can from me, certainly right now. He is a very solid guy. He will tell you how it is, and if you don't like it, you just don't have to watch it. You know, if you don't like him, don't subscribe to his channel. But you cannot go to his channel and say you have not learned Linux. And there's just no freedom in Microsoft. I'm just telling you flat out. I'm not telling you, we're not slandering them. I mean, it is a absolutely fabulous operating system, to the point of, if something's installed on there, it's usually it works. But the way it runs isn't the problem with Microsoft Windows. It's not, because it breaks every time you turn around, and that's really not even the hideous updating system that they have. It's really the fact that your freedom is, you just don't have the freedom. I mean, freedom means something to me, and I would think it would mean something to everyone. You know, it's just you can't necessarily run the programs you want. You can't necessarily have the apps that you want. I can honestly say every app, everything I have on my Linux system, I want. And it's so stupid easy. If I download and install a Linux system, if there's a program on there I don't want, I just get rid of it. It's not tied down to nothing. Like, you know, sometimes, I mean, if there's certain dependencies or something related that it says, oh, this will break that, you just build it another way. I mean, there's too many ways around it, but it's not like that in Microsoft. They don't offer like for instance, let's OBS Studio, okay? There's or let's see, core control. Let's look at my. Well, this is building. I'm gonna pull up a list of things that I do when I install. Well, let's use Arch Linux. Only Linux. This is my program. So I've done all this by hand originally, but so when I learn something, I just write it down and jot it down. So the next time, I can just copy and paste. So when I download my system, I just copy and paste this, like so. Copy. I just paste it into a terminal and all this crap runs. So I got it set up to all my dependencies. These are all my. I mean, you could do this with one sudo pacman install. So I could knock this completely out right here. I could just do this. And do this. And it would do the same thing. Yeah, that's one thing that's bothering me. I don't know why. I really don't understand why it wouldn't. I had to back those packages out of that ISO I'm building. Anyway, so these are clones. These are packages that I have to build. After you build it, you want to do a CD, and this does it all for you. And it's just, this is the printer. Like, this installs the service and then starts the service up. Then I do a reboot. You always want to update, And like, here's the printer stuff. Not what you're thinking. Right here. So dependencies up there, and then packages down there. That way, it just builds things a little bit quicker when you include the dependencies ahead of time. That way you're it finished. Now let's see. Let's just see if this builds up failure. I don't know why I'm laughing, because it's not funny, man. It actually makes me want to tear up and just cry a little bit. Okay. Remove. We won't move it. We'll just change the storage. Whoa, it's the live CD wasn't on. Hope that didn't mean anything. Alright, I I didn't move the packages, did I? Or did I? Let's see. Just the operating system, Tracy. It's okay if it don't work. I want it to work, Father, but if it doesn't, it's because you. I don't know. Let's just hope it does. But I wonder if I'm billing it in my root as root is causing me problems. So let's take it out of the root. I gotta check and make sure that's empty. I'm pretty sure I emptied it a while ago, but Come on, let's go. See, all right, that's what I'm talking about. Why is that not taking it? Those are all in the repository. I'll have to check into that. It's definitely not going to build right. Son of a biscuit eater, we'll call it. Oh. Cats are fighting again outside. It's, every one of these I pull from the repository on my computer system. Alright, so let's Control S, Control Q. Actually, I'm going to just Control S. Just in case I have to do this again. Locate. Huh? Where's locate? I'll be darned. You know what? I forgot to put the Zen in here. That could be the reason why it failed. Because the kernel, the kernel wasn't installed. Whoops! I was like, man, I installed the kernel. Nope. You put in the program, the list of programs, but I put it in the one part I showed you, but I didn't put it here. and the Linux headers aren't even in it. Ooh, I messed up. Control S. Where is locate? Oh, it's at the bottom. Control S again. We'll rerun that same command. And it should continue to build this time. And it does. And let's see. Linux Zen headers. Linux Zen. Linux headers. Linux firmware. Don't try to say it ain't installed this time, buddy. Clearly it is. It just put the hook in there for VBox. It's right there. It's going right by it. It's alright, yeah. Boot Linux Zen image. It's definitely in there this time, buddy. Buckos. So don't give me any crap. See if there's anybody on the computer. Thanks, Barry. I sure hope so. I sure hope so, Barry. That would be nice. Comments there. All right. Me too, Joe. That's funny. I don't care who you are. If you're talking behind my back, you're in a good position to get. Yeah. Come on now. Come on, Brian. Alex. Come on, Alex. Anything interesting going on? All right. I'll have to read that one. Breaking explosion in Philadelphia. I hope everybody's okay. I surely do. No, I don't remember thinking anything like good that came out of that. Yeah. Everybody feels sorry for Casey Anthony. Not me! Okay, off of this. Dang it. That guy finally got back with me on the trucking job. I missed it. Just don't like Facebook. Alright, let's get over here. Alright, it's creating, that's compressing my file. Let's see if it's creating a file with errors. Well, I definitely installed the kernels. I just doubled it. That was down below. I really wanted to install the printer stuff. Alright. That's awesome because that was on my list to take off. I didn't install it. Ruby. There's Ruby is installed. That Ruby's for running the icon, the list of icons. I'm pretty sure icon and themes. ISO burn. Some of them programs it asked me to take off. Yeah, that's one. Oh, okay. Q, that it had me take that off too. I just don't understand it though. How could it? Because I really don't think it installs out of the box. That stuff directly out of the box. One of the main things I wanted to install. There's the grub. Yeah, that's the tools. Some of this stuff is installing that it had me take off. Because it maybe because it's not a dependency. No. But it's just really weird. All the Pythons that had me take off, I think it is the Python. Maybe it clashed with some of this stuff. I don't know. It probably clashes with what they install as a base. But I know for a fact that you can get those things. I know I've downloaded systems with this stuff already on it, so I know I can get it on there too. I just got to figure out how they did it. I use systemd. I didn't do it with grub. Maybe that's just part of the beginning. Maybe when it actually gets installed on hardware, it'll give you it'll still list an option to use grub instead of the system. Maybe that's why. All right, here's the programs. Let's see. Yeah, that's already going. VirtualBox. Well, I mean, that's the thing is, have me take that off, but this is the guest utilities. And I know Arch will let you install those from the get-go. My favorite, and I'm really kind of stuck on if StormOS. Arch StormOS is my favorite, or Fedora 37, because they're both absolutely fabulous deals. And Storm's just actually pretty much a spin of Arch. It's not its own distro because it uses the standard Arch kernel. But he puts all his. They've got some really neat programs in there though. So I mean, it's really. I mean, he's deserves credit and support for his work, 100%. But okay, that's the Python is on there that it had me take off. I'm really wanting to find Nemo. And I don't understand. Cinnamon uses Nemo by default. You would think when you install the Cinnamon desktop environment that the themes or the icons and themes would be installed with it, you know. Because if you don't install it with it, then what happens, I'll show you, I'll kind of explain it. Like this icon right here, this would be completely blank. If you just install Cinnamon on Arch, this is completely blank until you get a certain theme. Until you install a certain theme from in here, which is I had to get a clone of the repositories on this to get this, but you know, that would just be blank. Certain things would it would just look off. What happens? I mean, this would be like the icon would be gone. There'd be like a little box. You'd have to drag. It would look like there's nothing there. I mean, because this would be at the top. You know, so it would look like it's not there, and then you're sitting there trying to get it installed, because you're not used to looking over here for something. Like if it's something way down here in the bottom, you're not used to looking for it, and it's usually right here. You tend to think that it's not installed, so you're going to try to install it, right? So it was just that part is frustrating for me. So that's why I want to make a system where all this crap is just on there. People don't have to do crap. It just works out of the box. They don't have to take any programs off. They don't have to add any programs. But I guess maybe I could put a couple of launchers on the desktop, and you know, make a pretty pick for them, or in everything, and I can just I don't want to just install the base because anybody can install Arch Linux. Of course, it's not as easy as some of the others that have the Calamares installer, which I'm dabbling in the Calamares now. So eventually I will switch to that, and it will make things a complete lot easier. Like when you're I don't know if anybody's ever tried Arco Linux, they just give you an absolute ton of options with that. My ISO built, so let's exit out of that. It's locked. Why is it locked? It shouldn't be locked. That's not locked. That's not locked. That's not locked. I don't have any of the bootstraps on here. Trial and error, folks. When you're making your own, it's a little bit time. So when you get something that works, support people. Support who you got it from. It's unlocked. I just unlocked it. I just love being able to do things. Hey, it's not locked anymore. All right. Let's do this. Locked. It's locked. Listen, ain't buddy. I wonder if that's why it wouldn't work. And just because this is unlocked, it doesn't mean it's going to work either. $1 gig, and it moved up from 800 and something megabytes to 1.5 gigs. So yep, 1.5 gig. 1.5 gigs is really not that bad. I mean, so that there's stuff all over that disk, so it should work. So let's try it on VirtualBox. Sometimes things don't work in VirtualBox, but we're gonna check this out here. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Don't know what I'm doing wrong. So I'm going to what's up? Oh, it wasn't installed? Guest utilities? Um, usually do everything in the terminal, but Thinking about just trying it on my hardware. Well, I can't test it in VirtualBox. So, bummer there. I just wonder. If anything will. You made coffee?
Yes, sir.
Man, you brought me a cup of coffee. I didn't even ask for it. Fine, that's awesome. Thank you, buddy.
Yep.
You're all right. You need to stop doing. You need to let people do for you for every once in a while. If I known you, I'm gonna make next coffee. You're gonna get served by me, buddy. Thank you very much.
Yep.
You're a good boy. And you don't have to do that to be. You're good. You're just a good boy altogether. So. See if it starts up. No, it don't. Okay. That it actually makes me feel a little bit better because Arch is on my computer. I use that file to install it, so it is VirtualBox. I'm having problems with VirtualBox somehow, or since I got the Bear on Arch, I have, like I showed you, you can see that's pretty bare. Well, not real bare, but that's that's not a whole lot of packages. So all right, let me check. So it looks like I got to end the video, folks, because I cannot. You know what? I'll make a drive with you. Let me stick this handy dandy flash drive I've had for years. Stick that in my USB port. Alright, found it immediately. Alright, I go to my backup drive. Oh, it's got Arch on it already. Okay, programs, Blend Etcher. File, operating system. Let's go OnlyLinuxOS-Cinnamon. Let's see if it goes to it can be burnt. Used caramel macchiato, didn't you? Man, that stuff is delicious. If you're not gonna drink black coffee, caramel macchiato, and I like hazelnut too really well, but this is just so delicious. Thank you so much again, Byron. If I had a wallet in my pocket in these sweatpants, I'd give you a freaking tip. That's delicious. That's restaurant quality coffee right there, buddy.
When we get our shop, I'll do the coffee.
When we get our shop, you're going to do the coffee?
Yep.
Well, not everybody likes the same creamer and stuff as we do. But when you get used to the customers, you know what they like, you can just make it for them.
Yep.
Like when we were at Domino's, me and Barry and Mindy, everybody, when certain people come in, sometimes they'd come in and we'd just say, they'd be ready in 5 minutes because we made it when they were getting out of their, we started making it when they were getting out of their car, you know. Mm-hmm. You just, you have to be involved with your customers. You got to know your customers, know what they like. We would just say, or they come in 524 when we had the $4.99 carryout special when the taxes weren't outrageous back then. 524, and she'd just hand us money and it'd be ready. I already knew what she wanted.
Yep.
Pepperoni beef and shredder. It was called shredder cheese. She called it shredder cheese, the lady did. Oh, Mrs. Robbins. Oh, man. There's no maximize. I wonder if they'd be mad if I went here and I added maximize to this. I mean, that's not really worth a fork just to put a maximize, but that's something, you know, you could people that were really picky, they could, you know, go to their site or whatever and leave suggestions. I found out what I can put my I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put my on a if this does not work, which I hope that it will, but if it doesn't work, I could just simply I could use a system that works and just put kind of merge mine in with that and see what happens until I can figure it out. Yeah, I don't know why this isn't working. to me there used to be a place to update. Alright, so trying to think of what to try here. Let's try to removing VirtualBox. Oh. So let's do this then. Installed. Let's start from the AUR and see if something happens better. Bin. what I did is I just uninstalled the VirtualBox from the repository, and I'm using the AUR. I tend to stay away from the AUR, but since the AUR is Arch Linux, I think it's pretty safe on the base Arch Linux system. Well, not really running the base. I built off of the base, but Manjaro wouldn't work. You wouldn't want to. I would not encourage anyone to use the AUR for Arch or any of the spins that hold back kernels and stuff like that. Programs. This coffee is so good. Well, that's doing that. Pull my I love OBS Studio. It's a really good program. It's really nice, actually. Failed to build VirtualBox. There you go, folks. This is why I stay with AUR packages. Just saying. Yeah, you would think AUR would be the place to go because it's Arch Linux. Maybe it's because it's Arch unofficial repositories. Failed to build. Well, son of a biscuit eater. Son of a bitch. What the heck?
Did we lose internet?
No, VirtualBox broke.
Good luck.
Oh man. So very interesting thing that just you can't go to VirtualBox. Wonder if we're being attacked. This is kind of outdated. Lower 37's out, folks. It makes me mad they don't have Arch on here. Did they screw us over? It's so weird. You can't go to VirtualBox. Huh. I don't know what was wrong with it before. What the heck? What's this crap? Where all this crap here is. Oh, gotta go, guys. I gotta reboot my system. Ciao.